Hey there, Joe here, Profit First Reseller. Fortunately, I did not get any video of the day today. It's already the end of the day. I just got back from the restaurant from dinner and got back to the hotel here. But I'd love to give you a recap of what happened today. It was 13 hours of food and walking around and being transported in black Escalades all around the Capitol, which is pretty incredible. But essentially, so I posted yesterday. So I was part of a team. It was me and one other seller, a gal named Tiffany from Kentucky, and then we had an eBay representative named Justin, as well as a DC kind of insider whose name was also Joe. And the four of us were kind of a team. And then we had another eBay exec named Val come and join us as well. Valerie was amazing. And we had 5 different meetings with legislators today. It was pretty cool. So I'm from Texas, of course, and then the other eBay seller in my group, Tiffany, was from Kentucky, and we were able to see the offices. Unfortunately, not the senators themselves, but we saw the offices of both of my senators in Texas, both John Cornyn and Ted Cruz, as well as both senators from Kentucky for Tiffany, which was Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell. So we were able to talk to representatives from all 4 of those offices and basically just share our story. I think a lot of politicians don't even recognize that eBay is of small businesses, a way for small businesses to exist. And as a lot of people kind of said today, I think supporting small businesses in America might be one of the last truly bipartisan issues. Like, it's kind of hard to argue against supporting small business, and so that's what all of us represent. Whatever side of the aisle you tend to fall on, I think it's a very American thing to make sure that small businesses are alive and thriving. And so we talked a lot about how businesses are abusing the Vero program to kind of stifle competition in that way, and just shared our story. I think especially my representative. So the 5th meeting of the day was with my representative, Jasmine Crockett, who was very busy and had lots of people trying to get her attention, but was able to give us a few minutes of her time there in the hallway, and I was able to share my story and get a picture with her. And it was just, especially Jasmine, I think, and everyone, all the staff members as well, were just interested in hearing about us as people. I think they want to hear what it's truly like for Americans and for their constituents. And it was fascinating. It was cool to go into the Senate office buildings, and you got to go through kind of a little TSA security checkpoint. But apparently anybody can just get in line and get inside once you get through security. It's not like we needed pre-authorization or they needed to make sure that we had a meeting. You can just walk into these buildings, and these are real senators and real legislators walking up and down the hallways. I mean, I really did feel like there were moments where I felt like I was in the West Wing. I was walking behind somebody at one point, and he was talking to 2 other staff members, and he's like, this just doesn't agree with my conservative sensibilities. And they were having a whole conversation. They go past, and a couple of the other people in our group are a lot more, versed in politics than I am, so they were able to point out certain names and people that we were seeing, and we got to sit in on a Senate House committee meeting as they were talking about, water treatment in Coos Bay with a general from the Army there. I mean, it's incredible. It was cool to have Joe, the other Joe in our group. He was kind of a DC insider. He was a consultant brought on by eBay, but he knew everyone. He actually was born and raised in DC, which I think is kind of a rarity. And I think part of his job is just connections, and he knew all the buildings. There's underground tunnels connecting, the House office building to the Senate office building. And that way you don't have to go through security twice. Once you get in through security once, there's these tunnels that extend like 3 blocks, these massive brick tunnels. You can walk in, there's just people walking back and forth and all the conversations. And it was really cool to see how the sausage is made, kind of how the American system works behind the scenes. I've never even been to DC here, and as you guys saw, I spent all day yesterday just walking around and exploring the city, and it really is a beautiful city. I mean, there's definitely highs and lows, and it's definitely a weird time to be in DC right now with all the political unrest that's going on, but and that, we definitely heard that from a lot of the offices today. Like, there is a lot going on in politics right now, and yet they're willing to sit and listen to us. And we saw Teamsters coming in with meetings, and people representing pets, and all kinds of things. There's so many causes that need to be heard, and feeling very grateful. And then so I got to meet the CEO of eBay, Jamie. He came and met us at lunch, and then again at dinner, and we got to sit with Jamie. And what really struck me about the CEO of eBay, Jamie Iannone, is what he was so focused on is what they can do better. Like, the last thing that he wants is pats on the back. What he wants is to know what the problems are with eBay. And in fact, I saw him pulling out his phone. In fact, at one point he pulled out his phone and asked me to say what I said again so that he could record it and pass it on to people. I was talking about how the eBay homepage is not really showing me relevant items that I'd want to buy, like a lot of the other marketplaces are doing, like a Vinted or a Poshmark, where you open up the app and immediately they're showing you items that are relevant to you. And with eBay, it's just not that. It's a lot of stuff you got to scroll to before you actually get to something that might cause me to want to stop and scroll and maybe buy something. And really, his question, he would sit down with us sellers. I think there were 14 of us sellers here today on the Capitol. And Jamie, the CEO of eBay, would just sit down with us and say, imagine you had 2 minutes to tell the CEO of eBay everything they could do better. I'm like, imagine, like obviously it's happening, but he was pretending like it's a hypothetical. And he said, what would you say? And he would just listen. And he was an excellent listener and active, and he had a lot of opinions. I had an opportunity to ask him a lot of things. Like I said, I talked about some of the problems I see in the listing process, and I brought up the mobile app, and I was kind of trying to sandwich my critique. So I was trying to say, I like how the mobile app has a lot of updates, but I wish it was better for power users. And I couldn't even get it out. I said, I like how the eBay app's been getting a lot of development. And he said, oh no, I'm not happy with it. Immediately his first instinct was to say, it's not ready. It's not there yet. It's not where I want it to be. And he's got a vision. He's got a vision for, authentication. He's got a vision for, using AI, incorporating AI more. And I think he's right. I think he's right on a lot of this stuff. So I love that he's someone that is not there to talk. He was honestly there to listen. The only time he came up to speak at dinner was to hand out an award to another amazing seller who's done these advocacy events before and just seems to be an incredible guy, a former lawyer who quit practicing law full time so that he could be home with his son, who's now 2, and he sells on eBay instead so that he can be home with his son. And he got an award, and that's all. Jamie just went up tonight at dinner just to highlight that guy, and then he sat back down and kept talking to us sellers about how eBay could be better. So, yeah, interesting day. I think very, very fun, very productive. I think. I'm not earning money in the same way as I usually am, but it felt encouraging to be involved in something political and to not leave feeling completely deflated. To feel like maybe my voice does matter a little bit. Maybe our voices matter a little bit. And I got a lot of cards today and a lot of offices. And when we were sitting in these offices of these senators, and then Representative Crockett as well, these staff members are sitting and fielding calls from just regular people, and they're listening and they're passing on this info. Like their job is just to sit, and it's to accept appointments for people like us who have meetings, and then they just sit and they're on their computers and they're answering calls from their constituents about actual concerns. And so if other people are complaining, not complaining, but reaching out actively, I think this might even be the opposite of complaining. I don't think that's the right word for it. Like, that's the right person to talk to. Like, these people, it was so amazing to see Jasmine Crockett, my representative. We met with her, and then we went and sat down in Rand Paul's office to wait for the next meeting, and she was up on C-SPAN or Fox News or something up on the TV. And she was there in the same outfit earlier that day, arguing on the floor and with so much passion and fighting for these causes. Like, there's a lot of people that are really passionate about what they do here in DC. It just feels so far away so much of the time where I'm at, and where I imagine where most people are. I'm at in Dallas, Texas. It feels like the furthest thing from DC. And the way people dress here, everything, it really is, it's a different pace. It reminds me of New York in some ways, but different as well. I think it's a different mission. I think it seems a little bit more united here. Maybe two different sides united, but also fighting each other, unfortunately, in American politics. But there's a lot of good being done, too. A lot of good decisions being made. It's cool to see the senators sitting there listening to these Army generals and asking them, why hasn't this been done yet? And for the Army to have the response. And it's cool to see how it works. So thank you all. I really feel like y'all on YouTube have been part of this experience. I think in large part, you're part of the reason that I maybe got picked to come, or maybe felt, confident enough to say yes. So thank you. Thank you for helping me do this. I'm Joe, Prof First Reseller. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm sure I'm leaving out so much, so I'll continue to share as more ideas come up, but I'm probably gonna get to bed soon, and I still gotta call my wife. But I wanted to make this video so I could get it uploading, and then I'll call Heather. So sorry, Heather, I'm gonna call you right now. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you for everything. This is Joe. See you next time. Peace.